everybody, my name is Lauren. I want to talk about some things that happened to me and some dreams I had. If you do not believe in God, watch this. As you know, this channel is surrounded by the dreams God gives me, and I also like to do daily prayers, and I sometimes do other stuff. Right now, I am working on a Bible themed diamond art, and I have it on here, but I have not finished it yet. So I'm going to make another video when I actually finish the diamond art, but I do have a video on here of me opening it. But when I actually finish the diamond art, I will make a part 2 of me showing what it looked like when I actually finished it. But I think it's going to look really cool. And in case you want to get the same diamond art, I actually bought it on Amazon, and they're currently still selling it. So if you want the exact same one that I show in that video, you just go to Amazon. I think I found it just by looking up Bible diamond arts. To be more specific, to find the exact same one I have, you'd probably put like Bible diamond arts lamb, and it probably will come up. But yeah, I just want to talk about that because, like I said, once I finish that diamond art, I'm about halfway done with it. But when I finish it, I will, of course, make a part 2. But I want to talk about, because I've had some crazy things happen to me lately that I literally think like majority of y'all are just not gonna believe. Like, I'm not making this up. I really had these dreams, and through having these dreams, it just makes my faith grow stronger, I feel like. And maybe Yahweh gives me these dreams because the Bible says Yahweh will not give us more than we can handle. And I think Yahweh knows I can handle these dreams, and I believe he gives them to me to share with other people. Because there's some people out there that these dreams, they may interpret it the wrong way, or it may scare them or lead them, down a wrong path, and nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. But let's get into what's been happening. Like, you're just gonna think this is crazy, like what's been going on, and I hope that this just helps your faith grow and just reminds you God is real. And I mean, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. The devil and hell are real, because there is quite a few people, like even I've probably done this in the past, that I like to sugarcoat it and try to convince myself that hell isn't real. And I like to just pretend that nothing happened. But the fact is, heaven and hell are both real, and Yahweh and the devil are both real. And we need to stop sugarcoating it, because it's getting sooner and sooner and sooner to Yahweh's return. We can only go ahead, we can't go backwards. So each day is another day closer to Yahweh's return. And I want you to be ready when Yahweh returns. I don't want you to be the people that didn't have their oil lamp full, that didn't have enough. I want you to be the people that have over enough. Okay, I want people that watch my channel to be the people that have over enough. Like when Yahweh shows up, Yahweh's like, do you have any? And they're like, yeah, I brought extra. I don't want anybody to not have enough oil. Okay? But yeah, let's get to it. So this all started, I would say probably about 5 or 6 months ago was when this actually all started. Yeah, it was that long ago. And one night I had this just like insane dream. This dream was like insane. I had a dream where I saw myself in heaven. And I truly, truly, truly believe Yahweh was showing me in my new body. Because the Bible tells us that when Yahweh returns that we will get new bodies that are perfect. And I truly, truly believe in this dream, Yahweh showed me my new body. Anyway, I was in heaven, but I was wearing this beautiful, like, I wouldn't say exactly a wedding dress. Like, I guess you could call this a wedding dress, but like a really, really, like, a wedding dress that's not like super, like, out there. Like, this was a pretty plain wedding dress. And it was a dress like, if I saw this, I wouldn't pick this dress. And, in my dream, it was so beautiful. Like, I've always pictured, me wearing, like, one of those big princess ball gown dresses. But now seeing this dress, it was literally perfect. Like, now seeing this freaking dress, like, I couldn't imagine wearing almost any other dress. Like, I never imagined myself wearing one of these until I had this dream. And in this dream, I was a lot skinnier. I weigh almost 200 pounds. And in my dream, I weighed probably maybe 100 pounds. And in my dream, as you can tell, my hair is a really, really dark brown. But when I was younger, it used to be like blonde, like a dirty blonde color. And I've always wanted it to be that color again. Because when I was real little, my hair was like white, like literally blonde. But when I got older, it started turning dirty blonde, and eventually it turned into this dark brown. And I've always wanted my hair to be that dirty blonde color again, because I just thought it was beautiful. Well, in my dream, it was that dirty blonde color again. And I've always wanted really long hair. My hair was a bit longer than this, but about a couple months ago, we cut some off because it was a bunch of dead ends, and I just didn't like that. So we went and cut the dead ends off. And if it was up to me, I would want my hair to be like almost to my feet. Like, that's how long I want my hair. And in my dream, my hair was literally that long. And I just saw myself, and it was just so, it was like I was in heaven, like, didn't care. Like, it's not like I didn't care, but almost like if I was a kid again is the best way to probably explain how I felt. And it was just, I was just so happy. And I'm not gonna lie, I looked really pretty. And that's pretty much it. In the dream, I just like walked around heaven, and the dream was like maybe a couple minutes long, and that's pretty much it. I thought about maybe drawing myself what I looked like, and well, then, I mean, it's just crazy. Like, I've had so many dreams recently, like, it is insane. So after I had that dream where I saw myself in heaven, and I believe that was my new body. Like I said, I say believe because I don't want to tell you something that's wrong, and definitely pray about these dreams, because the devil will try to tempt us, and he can use dreams to do so. So if you feel weary, or like you feel like something I say isn't right, of course, definitely pray about them. So, like I said, that dream lasted about 2 minutes, and I really just think it was God showing me what I would look like in my new body when that time comes. And after that, I didn't really dream much. It was like a couple of weeks passed, didn't really dream much, and then I had this long freaking dream that I'm about to tell y'all. Because when I talk to people, I typically skip most of this dream just because it was so long. So I typically skip most of this, and I actually believe I made a separate video where I talked about this dream, but I typically will skip this one when I'm telling people just because of how long it is, because it's kind of like a mouthful to say. But I'm going to put it in this video because I want everybody on my channel to be able to hear it. So, yeah, let's get into dream number 2. So, in the dream, I run outside of my house because like just crazy stuff was happening. It was like God's returning. You know, it was clearly God's returning. Well, I go outside, and if you don't know, I have a survival backpack. I actually have a video on here where I gave a tour of everything that's in my survival backpack. Of course, there is a few other things I plan on getting in the future that I also mentioned in the video. So if you would like to watch that, you're more than welcome to. I truly feel like my survival kit is like my oil lamp. I truly feel that way, and I feel like God has like shown that to me, like emphasized that, if that makes any sense. But let's continue. Kind of getting off topic here, but let's continue. In the dream, like I said, I run outside, and I hear this voice, and this voice is just telling me, run. Like, it was like, not scary, but like just serious. And it was just like, run. Well, I'm outside, and I don't know if I should listen to this voice and just run. And I'm thinking, like, maybe I should grab my survival backpack and then run. So I believe that's what I did. I went and got my survival backpack, and then I just start running like the voice told me. Well, I end up running until I'm just out of breath, and I cannot run anymore. Like, I'm just running, and I'm so out of breath, like, I cannot run anymore. Like, this is just the end. So I'm finally at the end where I cannot run, like, at all. I'm out of breath. So I set my backpack down, and I'm in this forest. I wouldn't say it was like a crazy giant forest, but like a medium-sized one maybe. And I'm just out of breath. And I look up, and I see like all of these angels, and they're taking people to God. And I'm just like, what? Like, and I'm like wanting to go look for God. And in my dream, I remember that God told me that when this happens, not to go look for him. God told me that the good shepherd comes looking for the lost sheep. As we all know, who's the good shepherd, that is Yahweh. And in my dream, I was told not to go looking for God because the good shepherd comes looking for his lost sheep. And I was told to wait. I was told to wait in this forest, and I was told not to leave this forest. If I left this forest to look for God, I would be killed. And I was just told to wait until God came and got me, however long that was. And so that was the plan. And eventually in my dream, God shows up, of course. And he comes and finds me in the forest. And in that dream, it was like almost like, I guess you say, I was shocked. Because I guess it had been so long. I was shocked that he finally showed up. I was shocked he had finally showed up. And God shows up. And I'm like, it's kind of like one of those moments where I'm like, it's finally you. Like, kind of like in a movie when the good guy finally meets up with the bad guy. And they're like, it's time. It was kind of like one of those moments. But in a good way. And, God comes to get me. And, of course, I follow him. And we're walking and walking. And we keep walking till we end up at this dock. Like this. Like, you know, a dock for boats. I assume you know what I'm talking about. But sometimes the way I explain things are funny. But yeah, the dock that are used for boats. I say it like that because I haven't seen many of those in real life, but I know what they are. So, we're there, and then one of the disciples show up. I just want to see if you can guess which disciple it was. Anybody got any ideas which disciple it was? I want to see. Comment below your guess and see if you were right. So in my dream, a boat comes up, and who comes out of the boat? It was Simon, who later on becomes Peter. And it's just really crazy because of his name and all that. And ever since having that dream, I just think it's kind of funny. Because I'm like, out of all the disciples, why did you pick Simon? I've always wondered that if like it had something, like if it had a purpose, or was it just a random disciple? I just wonder. So like I said, I see Simon and he gets out of the boat. I just want to pause real quick. If you hear any beeping, my phone's been going off. So just ignore that, please. But let's continue. So the boat comes to the dock. Simon gets off, which is later called Peter. Because some people don't know that they're the same person and get their names mixed up. So Simon Peter, same person. It's just what happened is that God later on changes his name to Peter. So let's continue. So he gets on the dock and God's there, and I'm like a bit confused. Like, why the heck is Simon here? Like, it's just like random, you know? And Simon never says anything. And God's there, and I start talking to God, and I start asking, because at this time, I was kind of concerned, because I don't get a lot of money. And I wasn't, like, worried about money. I was just wondering, because at the time, I really felt like God wanted me to get my survival stuff, because I didn't have all the survival stuff. Right now, I have a pretty good amount of survival stuff. Like, I feel pretty, like, I could survive on it, honestly. But at this time, I didn't have too much. So in the dream, I was, like, asking God, like, how am I going to get the rest of my survival stuff? Because I wasn't really sure how I was going to. And God told me, this is what he told me in my dream. He basically said that I could survive on what I had. And I was like, but what about the stuff I don't have? And he basically said that he would figure out some way for me to get them. And here we are today, and I have basically everything I need for my survival kit. So thank you for that, Yahweh. Thank you for that. And then after that, I was following God, and then we went to this big crowd. Like, there was all these people, and all these people were cheering and shouting for God, and they were like, God, like, they were just cheering and shouting for God. Like, all these people were like, God, return. Where are you, God? Like, show yourselves. Like, some people in the dream even had shofars, and, like, it was just insane. Like, all these people were just shouting and screaming, like, where's God? Find him. Like, it was very intense to me anyway. So, I'm, like, looking around, and I'm, like, basically, like, are these people blind? God's right here with me. Like, can they not see him? And Simon and God are with me. And in the dream, God takes his hands and covers my eyes. Yeah, God literally takes his hands and covers my eyes. And he's like, "You are a seer." And I'm like, "I'm a seer? What does that mean?" And I'm like, "So all these people here can't see you, God?" And so he takes his hands off of my eyes. And so I'm like, right now it looks like I'm talking to a ghost. I'm like, it literally looks like I'm talking to a ghost. Like, you're invisible, but I can see you. And basically Yahweh was like kind of like almost laughing about it, but he was kind of like, yeah. He was like, it kind of looks like I'm talking to a ghost. And I think in the dream he kind of repeated himself, and he was like, "You're a seer." Like, it was like he really, really, really wanted me to like remember that. Like, don't forget you're a seer. And that was pretty much it. That's pretty much the whole dream. Like, such an amazing and powerful dream. Like I said, I do believe this dream is already on the channel, and I believe I go in more detail on the other video. So if you'd like to watch that, you're more than welcome to. You probably need to scroll down some. And that was like crazy, but I got more stuff to talk about, more dreams I believe and whatnot. Like, the stuff that's been happening is literally very, very intense. And if you do not believe in God, watch this video. I know my hair is a mess, so just please ignore that. My hair is almost always a mess. I'm trying to actually get something that might help my hair, so we'll see if it does. So about 2 months after having that dream, I had another dream that, like, you're just not gonna believe probably. This is probably, out of all the dreams, I feel like this is gonna be the hardest to believe. But I really, really had these dreams. And I truly believe, like God told me in the previous dream, I truly believe I'm a seer. And he tells me the stuff to tell people. And maybe it could be you that's watching this that needs to hear it. I don't know. So in this dream, it felt like I was a kid again. Like, when we were a kid, like, we think nothing can hurt us. And like, that's exactly how I felt. Just peace, and like nothing could hurt me. So I'm in heaven, and like I said, I just feel like I'm a kid. Like, nothing can hurt me. Like, everything's just peaceful. And I'm with God, and then there's this other kid who is about 8 years old. And I feel like God made him 8 years old because I am a lot more comfortable around kids. That's just how I've always been. And like, I don't know why, but adults usually make me nervous. And oftentimes I notice that in my dreams, God will show me children. Like, one time, I'm not going to go full detail about the dream because it's already on this channel, but it was my birthday, and God threw me a birthday party, and instead of having adults show up at the party, in my dream he had kids show up, which I really feel like that plays into how I get nervous around adults, because he's trying to show me, he doesn't want me to be nervous, you know, and I really feel like that's why he puts kids in my dreams. But let's continue. So like I said, I was in heaven, and me and God and this 8-year-old, he looked to be 8 years old, I'm just guessing, that's how old he looked, were playing with a basketball. And I just want to say, I don't even know how to play basketball. I know what the game's basically about, but I've never actually really sat down and played it or watched it. So, kind of interesting to see that. But, let's continue. So, me and God and this 8-year-old boy are playing with this basketball. And all of a sudden, God, like, has the ball, and he just, like, hands it, I think, to the 8-year-old boy, and he just stops. And it was, like, weird. I just immediately, like, want to follow Yahweh. So I just start following Yahweh. And eventually, we keep walking all the way to, the best way to describe this, it was like a hoverboard, but it looked like if you took a circle out of a brick wall, that's what this looked like. And then you just laid it flat and stepped on it. That's what this looked like. So I get on the hoverboard with God, and God's, like, he starts driving really fast, and we're going down. Like, imagine my hand is me, and we're just going down like this. And it starts going faster and faster and faster. And in real life, motion like that bothers me, but in my dream, it didn't bother me. So we're going down like this for like a while. Like, I'm talking like a while. So it gets to the point where I'm like starting to want to ask God like where we're going. And I almost asked God where we were going, but I stopped myself because I didn't want God to think I didn't trust him. And I was like, anywhere God's taking me is fine because I trust him. So I never actually asked him where we were going because I was like, I don't want God to think I don't trust him, so I'm not going to ask him because I do trust him. So we keep going and going and going, and eventually we end up in this black room. Like, it was really dark. It was really dark. And we're still on this hoverboard, and I see this black figure. Like, it looked like a human, but if a human was completely black. Like, imagine just seeing a fully black human. Like, if their clothes were black, their skin was black, their hair was black, a fully solid black human. And in my dream, we're on this hoverboard, and this black-looking human starts to climb onto the hoverboard, and it starts like saying, it's like, if I could just touch God, I'll be healed. It was like, if I can just touch God, I'll be healed. And it starts climbing on the hoverboard, and it touched me, and God grabs its wrist. It grabs its wrist and throws it back down. And I look down, and it's like a sea of people. Like, imagine a sea of people. That's what this looked like. A sea of just these black people. And I think this might have been the moment I realized that this was hell. At this moment, I realized this was hell. And the guy that God had touched and thrown back down started saying, he was like, God touched me, God touched me. I'm healed, I'm healed. And the other people are looking at, the other black figures that were in hell were looking at him. And they're like, God didn't touch you because you weren't healed. They're like, if God touched you, you'd be healed. They truly believe if God touched them, they would be healed. And he was trying to tell him, God did touch me, but yeah, I wasn't healed. And so I look at God, and I'm wanting to ask God, like, why wasn't he healed? You touched him. And I stopped myself from asking because I noticed that God was, like, sad about it. Like, he didn't want to answer that question. And I guess God knew what I wanted to ask, so he answered it anyway. And he basically told me that he was too far gone to be healed. And in the dream, this other person that was in hell started cussing at me. I don't like to cuss. Like, I almost never do. So, of course, I'm not going to repeat what he said. I mean, even if I did, I still probably wouldn't. But yeah, this one just started cussing at me, like saying all kinds of things. And I just don't really know what to say, but that was just really, really intense. That dream was really, really intense. And the people didn't believe. They didn't believe that God actually touched him. So people started climbing on the hoverboard still believing they could be healed by God. But these people were so far gone that Yahweh could no longer heal them. They had made their choice. And in my dream, they saw me and they started saying, they're like, she's undecided. And what I took this is that it's undecided if I'm going to be in heaven or in hell. That's what I thought they meant by that. And they started calling me undecided. And then in the dream, people started climbing on the hoverboard trying to get to God. And I had to tell them, I was like, I can't heal you. And when I told them I couldn't heal them, that was like the worst pain I ever felt. I felt so bad for them. So bad that I didn't have the power to heal them. And I heard hell literally like the entire night. And I do not really want to explain to y'all what that sounded like. It was the worst. Of course, after I had this dream, I was emotional for like the next 2 or 3 days. That dream took some time to get over. And I just want to mention, hell is real. And if you do not believe it, I don't know what's going to make you believe. Like I say, it takes seeing to believe sometimes. And I saw it. It was real. And then basically when I was about to wake up, all the people in hell said, I was like, how can I save them? Like, I can't save them. I don't have the power to save them. They said I could save them if I made it to heaven myself. That exactly. Everybody in hell, in my dream, they got down on their knees and were like doing this, like as if they were praying. And they told me I could save them if I made it to heaven myself. And that was it. That was the whole dream. And I truly think God gave me that dream just to help me realize that hell's not a joke. It's real. And I truly believe that's why God gave me that dream. And that dream was very powerful. And I believe, like, hell is real. It's not a joke. And I just pray whoever's watching this video does not end up there. I pray you get your stuff together because hell and heaven are both real. I know we sometimes want to sugarcoat it and tell ourselves, oh, it's just like a made-up thing. No. I've seen it. I've seen heaven and hell. They are real. And I don't know really what else to say about that. I think I'm just going to continue to what I want to talk about next. But that dream was very intense. So, I paused the video real quick and I turned on my lamp, so I hope y'all can see me better, because I realized the video was quite dark. So, I hope you can see me better, and let's continue. So, about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks after I had that dream, I had an out-of-body experience. I know, we're just add that on top of the dreams I've been having. This was really, really intense. Like, listen up. So, if you don't know, I have epilepsy. I've had epilepsy pretty much my entire life. So, well, I ended up having 2 seizures in the same day, and they were pretty bad seizures. And during these 2 seizures, I had an out-of-body experience. So basically, I left my body and I was in heaven. And it sounds like the speakers you would hear like at Walmart or Target or some other store I'm not thinking of. And well, these speakers were saying Judgment Day. Yes, in this out-of-body experience, I was in heaven, and these speakers were saying Judgment Day. And I want to clarify, I'm not exactly sure if I was in heaven or if I was like the outside of heaven, like the before you get in heaven. But just to make it less confusing, I'm just going to say I was in heaven. And I start looking around, and since I'm hearing Judgment Day, and I'm like, I must be dead. Like, my first thought is like, if this is Judgment Day, I must be dead. And I look around and I don't see anybody. And eventually I see God, but only his back. I don't see his face, only his back. And he's some distance away. And I tell myself, I'm like, if anybody can explain what's going on, I know God can. So I start walking towards God. And when I was there, I was happy and peaceful. Like, I was just so happy and peaceful. Like, I didn't want to leave. Like, I'm going to be honest, I did not want to leave. So I'm walking to God, and I was about to touch him. Like, my arm would stretch out. Like, I was like an inch from touching God. That's how close I was. Then I start getting, like, sucked in. The best way to explain it is I imagine as if you were sucked in by a vacuum cleaner. And I started getting sucked in, and whatever was sucking me in, I did not want it to suck me in. It did not feel good. Like, I don't know exactly how to explain it, but whatever was sucking me in did not feel good. And then this starts sucking me in, and all of a sudden I'm sucked in into this black abyss. Like, it was so black, I couldn't even tell if my hand was in front of me. That's how black this place is. It was so black. Like, I could put my hand in front of me and not even be able to see if my hand's there. And then I'm in this black abyss, and all of a sudden I was put back in my body. And that was basically it. That was the whole out-of-body experience. And that was just crazy. And my mom thinks, this is what my mom thinks about the whole out-of-body thing. She thinks that if I would have saw God's face, that I wouldn't have returned. And that's why I only saw his back and not his face. And I'm like, maybe that's true, maybe that's not. I don't know. But yeah, that was really, really intense. And then I know this is going to sound crazy, but since having that out-of-body experience, I've been able to, like, basically predict the future. I know this sounds crazy, and if you don't believe me, that's fine. I mean, pray about it. Like, I don't, like, if this is not from God, I do not want it. Amen. Like, if this predicting future thing is not from you, God, I do not want it. So, to explain when I say I predict the future, about a week later, after having this out-of-body experience, I had a short vision. This vision was maybe a minute long, where I saw a hospital. And I saw this hospital, and it might not have even been a week. It might have been like 3 or 4 days after having this out-of-body experience. I saw a hospital, and I want to mention I was awake. I wasn't sleeping. I was awake when this happened. I believe so. I believe I was awake when this happened. I saw a hospital. It was like a minute long, but I saw a hospital. And I'm looking at this hospital, and I just knew we were there for my dad. I didn't know why. I just could, like, this feeling, like, I don't know how to explain it. I could feel like we're at the hospital for my dad. It was like a minute long, and that was like it. And of course, after seeing this, I just bluffed it off, thought it was my imagination. I was like, my dad's fine, and I did not believe he was going to end up in the hospital anytime soon. Literally a week later, after I had this vision, my dad ends up in the hospital for a stroke. Yeah, and of course, I didn't want to tell my mom that I saw that, and then he ended up having a stroke. Like, she's probably going to be like, why didn't you tell me? Or, like, you know? But eventually I did tell her, and basically she's like, there's no way you could have known or not known, and she doesn't blame me for anything, of course. But I'm like, I had that vision, and I decided not to listen to what God told me. And I'm like, if I would have listened to what God told me, we could have caught this stroke a lot sooner, and maybe it wouldn't have been as so bad. But like I said, I basically forgiven myself because I know it wasn't my fault, and there's no way I would have known. And if you want, you can pray for my dad. Right now, he cannot use his right arm or his right leg, but they do think it will recover over time. I mean, only time will tell, right? And prayer can help that a lot, so please pray if you want to. And it was just so crazy that I predicted his stroke before it happened. And that's not the only thing I was able to predict. So my sister's husband, for some reason, I don't think I saw anything really. I just kept like hearing this number, and I knew it had something to do with my sister's husband. And I knew he was worried about whatever this number was. Come to find out, this number I kept hearing was the exact amount he got in his paycheck, and he had been worrying about his paycheck. Because I kept hearing that number, and the exact number I was hearing was how much he had got in his paycheck, and he had actually been worrying about his paycheck. And I was like, how the heck did I know that? And that is not the only thing I predicted. I predicted something else at the hospital, but I'm not going to tell you what it was because it is a little on the personal side. So I'm not going to tell you what I predicted there because it's a bit on the personal side. And then right now, I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but I keep hearing or like seeing flowers, something to do with flowers. And I keep like seeing roses, like something to do with roses. And I'm not exactly sure what that has to do with yet, but maybe I'll make a short if anything does come true with roses or flowers. So I'll probably will make a short out of that if anything does, because I keep like another prediction. I just keep like seeing roses or like flowers, and something maybe to do with my dad, like someone gives him roses, but I'm not sure yet. So we'll see if anything happens with that. And I think this is where I'm going to end the video. So that's what's been happening with me lately. Out of body experience. My dad had a stroke, and being able to predict things. And like I said, I don't know when I'm going to predict stuff. It just kind of just randomly happens. And like I said, I pray about this because like I do not want this if it is not from God. We don't want anything that's not from God. But thanks for watching. I think I'm going to end the video here. My name is Lauren, and you're welcome to watching other videos on my channel. God has given me so many dreams. Like I said, he called me a seer. And I'm not making these up. Like I really have these dreams. Thanks for watching, and I pray God's with you forever. And bye for now. Amen.